Welcome back. Dennis Anderson here with a Vox News update. The election for Scholar Council in Pyrrhus Hive is heating up, and because of unknown technical and spiritual disruptions, V0T3, the most venerable vote-counting automaton, voting has been extended until the 24th as per the will of the Omnisire. The election thus far seems to be in the hands of the fellow with the impressive and most certainly organic mustache, totally Not-Trazyn the Infinite of the Nihilak Party. Alfarius of the Alfarius Party is in second by a double-digit margin, and the rest of the pack is behind him by a similar amount. But anything can happen, with still plenty of time for the people of Corumpere 5 to realize that voting, not rioting, is actually how the government works now. Old habits die hard, it seems. With that, CVNN has received election advertisements from each of the candidates, which will allow the citizenry to be swayed by emotional appeals and psychological manipulation. It is important to note, we have not heard any comment from Humius of the Big Brain Humi Party. However, without further commentary or factual context, let's see what the candidates have to say.
Hello, citizens of Corumpere 5. I am Alfarius of the Alfarius Party. We speak directly to you, fellow citizens. With our current standing in the polls, we are not winning. But you may be wondering why you should support our party in the first place. We are veterans of a long war against chaos, as can be seen in this footage. As the footage shows, we care for the Imperium, and more importantly, we care for its youth. What can be said about our opponents except they're wanting the Scholar Council position merely to forward their own nefarious agendas? That is why we at the Alfarius Party will be completely honest and say that we will give your children the learning that they deserve. For good Emperor-fearing children, please support the Alfarius Party.
As a sister familius, politics has been an extremely important part of my life. I have worked closely with planetary and sector governments to ensure that faith and peace were the norm on countless planets. And thus, I have carefully studied the nature of rebellion, for rebellion is the all-reaching ghost of politics. It haunts every citizen, from the most humble workers to the highest nobles. And be it in a whole sector, a single planet, or an institution, it always lurks and looks for new prey to lure into its lair. Ignorance is the root of every act of rebellion. Ignorance of the greatness of our Emperor, for the most holy nature of his dream. Unawareness of the fact that any individual goals and aspirations that we mortals think of pale in comparison to the Emperor's grand project. And it is blinded by that ignorance that a man may start having doubtful thoughts. He may start asking himself, why shouldn't he follow his own path? Or what sense is it in the sacrifices that the Imperium requires from him? And he will be deceived into committing the ultimate heresy. To think that his own desires are worthy as the most sacred rights of humanity. And fallen to the trickery of treason, he will do whatever it needs to be done in order to further his goals, even if that comes to the detriment of his integrity and his faithfulness to the Emperor. But the question still remains. Why reform the Scholar's punitive system? Why would a traitor deserve to be treated humanely? Why should someone who has rejected the Emperor's light be granted any sort of mercy or consideration? You see, contrary to what one might think, mercy and consideration aren't necessarily the main purpose of a merciful or considerate punishment. That doesn't mean that they are alien to a humane treatment, of course, but that there can be more to that treatment than mere goodwill clemency. It is true that when it comes to punishment, fear is a good principle, but in itself it is not enough to inspire discipleship. A good punitive system would be one that not only inspires fear, but reminds citizens and students alike of how trivial and unworthy individual ambitions are, and that the only righteous existence is the one true to the Emperor's dream, i.e. an existence in service to our most holy Imperium. Now what does the cement live burial of a problematic individual spark in the rest of the students besides fear for their lives? Nothing. There is no lesson learned but that death awaits them should they follow the same path. In contrast, think of the loyal servitors that march to battle alongside our troops, of the archoflagellates that furiously charge towards the enemy alongside my fellow sisters of battle. Think of the raging penitent engines that, battle after battle, deliver the Emperor's divine justice to humanity's foes. They all have something in common, that they still serve, that even in crime and dishonor, their lives are at the service of humanity so they can die for the Emperor and achieve a well-deserved redemption at last. The fear that those punishments spark is not your ordinary sense of self-preservation, but something much more true and sacred, a most rare form of hope. For they conceal a reminder that there is nothing greater than to serve the Imperium. So I do believe that every single son and daughter of the Emperor deserves redemption, for not even in sin does duty end.
I am the Master of the 88th of the Steel Legion of Armageddon. A thanks for all who have supported the Steel Legion and get it into the top 5 candidates for the Scalapaginium. Make sure to remember that the Steel Legion is the only candidate that has been known to fight a majority of the battles. I am not saying that the Sister of Battle does not have faith and will not fight the battle. The Steel Legion, and me specifically, have fought on many great battlefronts. Upon the Second War of Armageddon, upon the Third War of Armageddon, upon the fall of Cadia, and the aiding of such of Corumpere 5 against the riots and threats from previous elections. The 88th has defended this realm and from such threats as the orcs and all the orcs and murdered the war bosses of Corumpere 5 and taken out the zombie invasions and plague zombies. And we have been working on finding and destroying all the Xenos or mutant threats, including the gene stealer cults that we heavily believe that are in this area. The 88th has brung as much resources and power to purify and cut the corruption out of this hive city. We've defended against these worlds, killed our enemies, and made sure that Corumpere 5 is a better place for all of us. We have standed in the defense against all of it. This is no promise. This is my duty. I will not give you a promise that will not be fulfilled, but like other politicians, I will give you my duty as a soldier of the Emperor of Man. I have defended many worlds, and you will not be the one I will leave. Remember, I will leave my term of office, and this once the Steel Legion is allowed to leave. But I will make sure while I'm here as a Scalapaginium council member, if I get that position, that I will be the most strong in the position that the heretic, the mutant, the Xenos must be destroyed at every angle, and to keep the corruption from those angles out of the Scalapaginium. This is what Cain stands for. This is what the Steel Legion stands for. This is what the Imperium will stand for. And we can make Corumpere 5 a beacon for this Imperium. Even though that the Imperium has been fractured by the foul forces of chaos, we stand defiant against them. We stand defiant against all of them.
I am totally Not-Trazyn the Infinite, and I would like to thank the citizens of Corumpere 5 for voting for me, which will make campaign progress and make learning fun and interactive using my prismatic galleries. However, I would like to address the controversy. Notwithstanding my kleptomania, I do not steal, I preserve artifacts. I also have a Lady Inquisitor supporting me, Valeria. In one report I found the most insulting was that I was a psyker. I am not. In fact, I am technically a blank. Also, in the altercation, the salamanders were merely a misunderstanding. I mean, they love everyone, so why would they want to kill me? I deeply care about education, and I want to see the planet flourish. And I am more than willing to drill my opponents to prove my point, either using weapons or in a game of paradox, billiard, football, roulette, fourth dimension, hyper chess, trip, poker. So, remember, when in doubt, vote for the guy who is totally not praising the internet. Sort of having vote as your mom one time makes me want to annihilate the entire planet.
And there we have it. The words straight from the mouths of your candidates. Sometimes inspiring, sometimes incomprehensible. But now you've heard it all, and it's time for you to make your decision and vote, Corumpere 5. It's you who holds the future of our children in your hands. Who knew anyone would trust any of you with such responsibility? Democracy truly is... well, it's something all right. But fear not, citizens. I will return soon with the final results from the Pyrrhus Hive Scholar Council elections. Good luck, Corumpere 5. You're going to need it.